It is our favorite time of the week, time for hashtag Rising Qs, where we answer your questions. Saagar, what's up first?
Let's start with Stetchy Guy. I think I'm saying that correctly. However inadequate, 1,200 is an unprecedented government action in the United States. Which party do you think will get credit for the action, Krystal?
True. However, I don't think history is going to look very kindly at this moment. I mean, we're seeing unemployment numbers in 1 week. 3.3 million Americans, and that's just the beginning of this. So you stack up a one-time, means-tested, slow, by the way, you're not gonna get this for weeks or even months. You stack that up against $4 trillion to bail out corporations that probably don't even need it, with little oversight and next to no strings attached. I don't think history is going to look very kindly at this.
I don't think so either. I don't think either party will get credit, mostly because it was passed 96-0. And like you said, it's not going to look kindly. If anything, I think another payment is going to be needed very, very soon, perhaps even when the Senate gets back from vacation in a couple of weeks. So it's not going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, how are people going to look at the fact that, they passed this wholly inadequate effort and then left town?
Right. Yeah, there you go.
I don't think it's credit. I think both parties are going to get the blame, ultimately.
Second question. This is from Lambda. Do you think the economy will suffer more aggressively if we reopen the country?
Yes, I do. Because ultimately, look, you can't reopen the country and just expect everything to go back to normal when people are literally afraid for their lives. I mean, including workers who have to work the cash register and really be on the front lines in terms of interacting with potentially infected people. People aren't going to just go back to the restaurants, et cetera. So all you're doing is spreading the virus, making the pandemic situation worse, which ultimately is going to make the economic situation worse and longer and prolong all of this.
I agree. And I see this sentiment on the right. People are like, we need to get back to work. Economic destruction will kill more people than the virus, or it could kill. We need to weigh the possibilities of economic destruction on the populace. I couldn't agree with you more. 100%. A lot of people kill themselves during recessions. That's why in this opportunity, we have to use the government to be able to backstop as much of that pain as possible and also keep the general population safe. Because if you don't have the government backstop, if you have this pathetic effort like we had right now, then what are people going to rightfully assume? They're going to be like, look, nobody's got my back. I got to go to work. I got to provide for my family. It's a terrible situation to put people in. But ultimately, yes, reopening the economy right now, it will suffer. Because what will happen is then more people will get the virus. Healthcare system will be overwhelmed. Millions get sick. It'll just be prolonged for months and months and months. So I know times are hurting right now. We have to stay inside. And in the meantime, the government needs to step up and actually provide the relief that Americans need, not what they did just now.
And get on top of the effort to provide enough tests so that we can know who has it, who doesn't have it, how we can isolate people who have it or have been exposed, et cetera, so that we can start to, because people do need to go back to work, but we can't do that when we have no idea. We don't have our arms around this thing at all.
The only way to get back is we're all going to need basic tests, temperature checks in public places. The government needs to get their act together whenever it comes to quarantining, contact tracing, all of that. I've seen a proposal of a universal basic mask. That's something that I really like, which is every American citizen gets a mask. I think that's probably what life is going to look like once our economic life continues. Remember, China is 2 months into this thing, and the streets of Beijing are still very, very quiet. Wuhan is still on lockdown. So, it takes a long time.
It's going to take some time. All right, last question. We have Jonathan asking, is the current political corruption and stagnation in the U.S. partially a result of a growing cultural pessimism? In other words, beliefs that people are powerless against increasingly corrupt and abusive systems of power over the past few decades? Jonathan, I would say yes. How about you, Saagar?
Jonathan, I agree with you. It's kind of the ethos of what we do here. Yes, I think people have so little faith in government institutions. This is probably just the final death knell. And in terms of the cultural pessimism, I mean, which came first? Was it the government? Was it the culture? I think there's a lot of things that feed into it. And I'm glad that you're raising that point because America needs hope right now, and there doesn't seem to be very much of a reason to have it.
Yeah, and I understand why people would feel pessimistic and cynical and want to just disengage. I mean, I was incredibly distraught, outraged, depressed at this massive corporate slush fund that came through Washington this week with, trillions for big corporations and very little for workers who are suffering the most right now, it's easy to look at that and say, you know what, forget it. I'm done with these people. They don't understand me. They don't see me. They don't have my back. And that's all true. But we can't afford for people to back away from electoral politics and from trying and pushing and fighting to make your voice heard and make sure that you are the people who are ultimately holding DC to account, that they have to listen to you. We have no choice but to have optimism that we can change this system here and we can fight for things to be better. That's kind of what the show is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your questions. We really appreciate it, and we will have more for you later.